We're here to make manifest the glory of God. We're here, our unity movement, not just this church. We're here, we have to take these ideas, these principles that we know, and embody them, integrate them, become them. And that's what will change the world. That's what will open up pathways. That's what will give new perspectives and new ideas and new possibilities. But you have to integrate it. And our fifth principle is that you have to what? Practice it. Hello, how are you? I have to just say this. I have no idea when it was I was here. Like, I'm driving in this morning. My son's in Dale, Texas, so I'm driving in from Dale this morning. I'm like, wait, was it a couple of weeks? Was it a couple of years? Was it a decade? When was that? Do you ever have that sense? Like, what happened to time? But here's what I know. Half of the time that I was here, you weren't. And so when I walked in this morning for our pray-in and there was one person in the seat, thank you, Cindy, I'm like, oh, this is familiar. So I am really, really, really glad that you're here today. Likewise. And you all had masks on. So I'm really glad to see your faces. One of the things I said when I left, I said, you have to bring me back because I need to see your faces. I need to see who I was talking to. So thank you. So my heart is open. My heart's been broken, but my heart is open. Today we're talking about alignment over agreement. Alignment happens when your heart is open. Thank you for knowing that and choosing the song. There was a small village once upon a time that was kind of in chaos. They had a lot of dissension. They had a lot of different things going on. They all had different opinions and different ideas about what should happen and what should be and how things are. And they would argue and they would disagree all the time over everything. And one day there was a wise man who came to the village. And he noticed what was going on. So he told them a tale. The tale was about a flock of birds who wanted to go south for the winter. But this particular flock of birds couldn't decide on which direction to go. And they were going all over the place. And they were in bird-ese, arguing with each other. And nobody was getting anywhere and no movement was being made because they were all over the place. However, when they aligned with a common direction, they were all able to fly together and reach their destination. The people of the village were inspired by this tale, and pretty soon they discovered a common direction, a common goal that was greater than all of the individual opinions. They stopped focusing on their disagreements and their opinions, if you will, and instead worked together for that common goal. And before long, the disagreements stopped. There was harmony. There was peace, and there was a thriving village with that common vision. The principle here is to find alignment over agreement. When life happens, as life does. There's been 2 years of life since I was here, and life happens, and life is often messy, shall we say? And the mess of our lives is the exact thing that allows us to grow through. but only if we're willing. Right? Because you can hang out in a mess all you want, and we all know people who like to do that, right? We all know people who like to get stuck in their story, and they go on and on and on and on and on. And yet then there's other people who have a story, who have that pain, and have that chaos, who have that mess, but they talk about it in order to process, in order to heal, and they come through the other side, thriving in a way that they couldn't thrive until they'd gone through that growth. And so when we talk about alignment over agreement, alignment is like spirit first, like heart open. Like it is coherence, it is cohesiveness, it is resonance. When we are in alignment, things flow. When we are out of alignment, and thank you to my friend Joni who shared this morning, just like the wheels of a car. Where would this talk gone without your comment? Just like the wheels of a car, they don't have to be synced 100% exactly in agreement, but they do have to be in alignment. And that's what we're looking for in life. When we align to that which is greater than, it's as if we get out of the muck and into the flow. We get out of the edges of the river with all the twigs and the boulders and the sticks and the logs, and we get into the flow. Doesn't that sound better? Oh, I love flow. Agreement, on the other side, is often important. But agreement can also become the place where you go, oh, whatever, I'm just going to agree because I don't want to deal with it. Anybody ever done that? Right? Agreement is, there's a big hand over here. Agreement is a beautiful thing when it's true and when it's real and when it's solid. But so often, especially those of us who have any people-pleasing in our background, right? You can find that if you're practicing agreement in order to appease, or in order to not rock the boat, then you lose your peace of mind. You become actually more irritated and more frustrated and more not happy, shall we say. And so agreement from alignment supports alignment. But agreement without alignment can make more of a mess. So here's another story. It's a great truth. This story is about a donkey and a tiger. The donkey said to the tiger, "The grass is blue." And the tiger said, "No, it's not." And the donkey said, "Yes, the grass is blue, the grass is blue, the grass is blue, the grass is blue, the grass is blue." And the tiger's getting madder and madder and madder. He's like, "It is not blue, stop it." And they said, "Let's go to arbitration." Often, we used to call that conflict management, but, now there's better words. And so they went to the lion, and the lion was on his throne, obviously king of the jungle, right? And the donkey went first, and he said, "The grass is blue, and the tiger's arguing with me, and the grass is blue, and the grass is blue, and the grass is blue." And the lion says, "Yes, of course, the grass is blue." And the donkey jumped with joy and went on his way, content and repeating himself. "The grass is blue, the grass is blue." And he said to the lion, "The tiger has been arguing with me. He disagrees with me, he contradicts me, and he annoys me. Please punish him." And the lion said, "So be it. The tiger is punished to 3 days of silence." And the donkey's jumping for joy even more, and he bounces off. The grass is blue, the grass is blue, together. The grass is blue, the grass is blue. And the tiger looks at the lion and goes, "What was that? You know as well as I do that the grass is green." And the lion says, "You've known and you've seen the grass is green." And the tiger says, "Why do you punish me then?" And the lion says, "That has nothing to do with the question of whether the grass is blue or green. The punishment is because it is degrading for a brave, intelligent creature like you to waste time arguing with a donkey. I heard you say the word, but I'm mic'd. I can't. And on top of that, you came and bothered me with that question just to validate something you already knew was true. It's a complete waste of my time and yours. It's a complete waste of time to argue with a fool and a fanatic who doesn't care about truth or reality, but only the validity and the victory of his own beliefs and illusions. Now, some people call this preaching. Some of you might be calling this meddling. So just take it. It's a story making a point, right? But don't waste your time on discussions that make no sense. There are always people who, when evidence is presented, do not have the ability to see. But you don't have to argue with them. There are others who are blinded by their ego or their hatred or their victimhood or their blame, where they're not going to get off that the grass is blue. It doesn't matter. That's where agreement isn't necessary, right? And that's where we can come into alignment. I have a quote slide. Thank you, Audrey. When ignorance screams, intelligence moves on. Now, think about, perhaps, in your own world, where you could apply this principle. Where you could just drop the story that the other person is thinking the grass is blue. It doesn't matter. Now, it might matter, but it doesn't matter. Both are true, right? But don't waste your time arguing that the grass is blue. Come into greater alignment. What is more true? Maybe what's more true is there is grass. I see green, that person sees blue, they're obviously colorblind. Oh, that could have been a little judgmental, so maybe not that, right? At times it makes sense to agree. But more often than not, especially in spiritual community, because we know the principles of alignment over agreement. When we come into alignment, what is alignment? Alignment is heart open. Alignment is one with spirit. Alignment happens when you're centered, when you've done your prayer, your meditation, when you're grounded, when your feet are on the ground. And maybe your head is in the clouds. I like my head in the clouds because it's a different reality up there. And I don't get so concerned about the mud and the muck and the ruts down here when I'm in alignment with a higher consciousness, a higher dimension, a different idea of what's possible. I'm not in denial of what is or reality, but when I line up, I can see pathways that aren't visible to me from the muck and the mud and the rut. And so every single time, whether it's an instant for a moment, and sometimes it only lasts a moment, right? Sometimes you come into alignment, you go, I got it. And then you take one step and you get knocked off. It doesn't matter how many times you come back, but what matters is that you do come back to alignment, to your center, to your truth, to that greater place, that place of greater wisdom. As Tim mentioned, I'm in town in part. I'm in town to be of service to you. And it just so happens that my son and his fiance, Tyler and Tao, are having twins. So we were at the Tyler Tao twins shower in Dale, Texas yesterday. And it was a great time. They called it the Framily. So they have all these friends and a little bit of family. My daughter's in town too, so we're having just a great time. But 40 people, and they live out on 7 acres, and my son is a dirt bike rider. He used to be motorcycle. He's got all these first place trophies from CMR. Is it CMR? Sorry, I forget. But anyway, he loves riding fast. And so they got out here, and they moved into this house last summer, and they I mean, like about a week later, they have a track through their yard. So they have 2 motorcycles, and then one of the other families brought 2 little ones, and another one family brought another bike. So there were lots of bikes, dirt bikes, and they like to go fast. So there's this one dad, and he's got his 6-year-old on one of the smaller bikes. Not the itty-bitty one, but the one that Tyler rides, actually. They're still small. 6 years old. His name's Harley. And this little kid is booking it. He's obviously comfortable on the bike. He is going around this track and around, and his dad's trying to lead him for a while, and the track goes way this way, but over here there's a cutoff and there's a jump. Well, the jump is designed for Tyler and Tao, and it's probably about, I mean, the hump is probably about this tall. The 6-year-old's about this tall, right? And he starts heading for the jump, and his dad's going, slow down, slow down, slow down, slow down. This kid, I'm watching it, goes flying. He's about 8 feet in the air. Holy moly. And he lands. He's on the bike, and now he's not on the bike. He bounces. And he falls. He falls hard. He loses his helmet. He falls so hard he lost his helmet. Ooh. And the dad was watching it, but he's still riding the bike. So he's like dropped the bike, he's got the kid, and he's holding on to him. And this kid is traumatized. But long story short, because I don't have that much more time. But the short story of the long story is we got him some arnica and we got him some ice, and eventually he would take the popsicle. The mom said at first, the only thing I'm really worried about is he doesn't want a popsicle. I'm like, ooh, this could be bad. But anyway, we worked with him, and he sat in the chair with the ice for quite a while, and I kept going to him and checking with him, and I gave him all the principles I give you, like feel your feet. Like all of your awareness is in that shoulder that hurts, right? He goes, yeah. I said, can you find your feet? He goes, they're down there. I said, can you feel them? He's like, yeah. I said, wiggle your toes. I said, keep bringing your awareness down to your feet. Those of you who have been around me have heard me say that, like, ad nauseum. They're like, I'm like, feel your, like, no. Feel your feet. So anyway, he's fine. He's great. Before they left, he's like, can I ride bikes tomorrow? So he's like totally good. But anyway, talking to the dad a little bit later, I said, you know, it's just really great. He's got 4 kids. The 6-year-old was the oldest. And he said, we were just talking about parenting and this and that and the other thing. And he said, well, I had a parental fail today. I said, really? I thought you had a huge success. And here's why. That kid was going to do what that kid was due. You could not have prevented that from happening, right? I said, you were there in an instant. You got a hold of him. You were holding him. You were not blaming him, shaving him, yelling at him, not telling him anything, but just being present with him. I said, you just were present with him. I mean, I witnessed it. It was beautiful. And it was just like, you know, as many of us are parents and grandparents or aunts and uncles, you know, we don't want our kids to hurt, and we don't want our kids to fall, and we don't want our kids to fail. But the truth is, they're going to at some point. But this dad and then the mom, they were just with the kid in his process. They weren't hovering. They didn't rush out to the ER, which is probably what I would have done if it was just me. They were just present. They gave him space to be. So I'm talking to this dad, and I just helped him reframe it, because he was feeling really bad. And I said, no, really, think about it. And then he got it. And he, like, when he got it, you could feel his whole being went from, oh, I did it bad, to, oh, you're right. You're right. I got it. He came into alignment. And then you know what? That dad had the best time of his life the rest of the day, because then the big kids were on the bikes and they didn't stop. But the alignment piece, right? Because you can get knocked off alignment. It's pretty easy to get knocked off. But anytime you remember, you like take a step back. and go, oh, wait a minute. What's more true? Alignment comes in that which is more true. A greater vision, a greater intention, an idea that's bigger than. In Scripture, it says, let your yes be yes and your no be no, which also brings us into alignment, which is separate than agreement. When you say, oh, I don't know, whatever, well, do whatever you want. That's not a yes, yes, or a no, no. It's like, well, I don't know. I'm not going to be happy with it, but just do it. That's not it. But in the version of the Bible that's called the Message, it says this, and don't say anything you don't mean. This counsel is embedded deep in our traditions. You only make things worse when you lay down a smokescreen of pious talk and not meaning it. Don't say, I'll pray for you, and never do it. Don't say, God be with you, and not meaning it, right? Don't make your words true by embellishing them with religious lace. In making your speech sound more religious, it becomes less true. Just say yes and no. When you manipulate words to get your own way, you go wrong. That's also alignment. It's clarity. It's integrity. It's also good communication skills, right? Just generally in life. So being in alignment is being in the state of harmony. Harmony, self to spirit, in alignment with your mind and your thoughts, your words, and your actions. Being in alignment is integrity. Being in alignment is associated with joy and peace and fulfillment. And when you are out of alignment, that's when you experience stress or overwhelm or irritation or frustration or anything along that whole spectrum. We don't need to go any further, do we? We know what those are. In contrast, negative emotion, right? That dis-ease, that disconnection happens when you are not in alignment. When you are in alignment, you create connection. Again, source to spirit, spirit source to self, and with others. So how do you do it? How do you actually take this and put it into action? Because it's all good if you come on a Sunday morning and you hear a fabulous talk, best one you've ever heard, I'm sure. Now, why did that make you laugh? But it's one thing to come and like get that shot in the arm, so to speak, like, yeah, I'm so good. And then you get in the parking lot and forget everything you said or you heard. We're here to make manifest the glory of God. We're here, our unity movement, not just this church. We're here, we have to take these ideas, these principles that we know, and embody them, integrate them, become them. And that's what will change the world. That's what will open up pathways. That's what will give new perspectives and new ideas and new possibilities. But you have to integrate it. And our fifth principle is that you have to what? Practice it. That means put it into action. So how do you practice it? First off, notice what you notice. Again, something I say all the time. Begin to notice what you're noticing. How's your body feeling? How's your mind feeling? Are you tense or are you relaxed? Notice what your thought process is. Oh, well, that was really stupid. That was a really dumb story. I can't believe that happened. And oh my gosh, they made a mistake. And oh, you know what? Right? Notice it when it's running through your head, because as soon as you notice it, you can choose again. How does alignment feel? Begin to notice how you feel when you feel good in your body. Notice how that feels. And then when you don't feel good in your body, notice how that feels. And what can you do to come into alignment to ease the discomfort in your body? Choose Once you've noticed it, choose to change. If you notice, I got that monkey mind going on, and I'm so mad about that one thing, that guy in the traffic, 4 days ago that cut me off, and I'm still working it, and I'm like, I can't believe it, and I can't believe it. We're telling stories, and oh my gosh, and it's over and over and over and over and over again. Just choose something different. Just interrupt the pattern. Choose anything different. I don't even care what you choose. Like, go look at the sky, look at the tree, right? Think about those twins. Now, that can cause a little bit of stress, but not so much for this grandma, right? But what makes you happy? What can you do, anything, to lift your vibration, which is ultimately what we're talking about? Go for a walk, turn on some music, do a dance. Listen to a repeat of a Sunday talk. Take a walk. Oh, here's a good one. Look up. Everybody look up. Just try it. Look up. Notice what happens to your throat when you look up. It changes your biochemistry, it changes your neurology, it changes all things in your body and your mind. Look up for 5 seconds. Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Look down again. It looks different. It feels different. That's a simple, simple, simple practice that you can do almost anywhere, anytime. Notice what you notice. Choose it again. Rinse and repeat. Rinse and repeat. Now notice, as you've looked up, you've come into greater alignment. How's that feel? Notice what you notice. Oh, that feels better. If you like what you feel, keep doing more of it. If you don't, choose again. Very, 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 very simple. If you find yourself in a disagreement, or you find yourself appeasing, or worse, choose again. Notice what you notice. Find the greater goal. Find the greater intention. Find the place of alignment in yourself, and then with others. Alignment brings flow, clarity, and connection. When? Every time you choose it. Choose alignment. Choose clarity. Choose flow. Choose connection. You'll be happier. The world will be a better place. And the people around you will appreciate it too. Choose alignment. God bless you.
Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I circulate, and I am grateful.